We're going to start off with our manufacturing panel because Ghana's manufacturing sector stands at an inflection point with deliberate policies shifting towards local processing and value addition and integration into the regional supply chains, Togo, Burkina Faso, and others. Moderating this panel on the manufacturing landscape and opportunities in Ghana is a team leader of the Green Economic Transformation Team of the FCDO, whose portfolio covers trade facilitation, industrial development across West Africa. Please welcome our moderator, Nana Frimpomaa Arhin. I'm now going to introduce the panelists very quickly. We have Chief Commercial Officer, Ministry of Trade, Kofi Addo, co-founder and CEO of Ethical Apparel Africa, Keren Pybus, Director of British International Investment PLC, Keegan Ziady, is that right? Ziady, sorry. And Chief Operating Manager, Atlantic Lifesciences, David Klutse. Give me 1 second. I don't have this name. Oh, Hugh Power Blue Skies. There we go.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The energy is very low, and normally after lunch, it can go two ways. It can be people are very excited or people are very tired. So can I hear UK-Ghana investment? Can I hear UK-Ghana investment?
UK-Ghana investment.
That's better there. Okay. So I have the pleasure of moderating this panel, a very important panel. I work for the British High Commission in Accra, and as he said, I cover our trade industrialization work. Now, most of the wars that you hear about today, or most of the geopolitical shifts over the last couple of years, has been about production. Who can capture resources? Who can produce better? If you think of some of the trade wars that we have currently, it is all about who can secure investment into production. And to quote a very popular precedent, he says, value is created where production starts. So which country is able to produce or to capture value from value addition wins the war for growth. So we know that this panel is very important. Manufacturing is critical to a balanced economy and is critical for broad-based prosperity. So I'm delighted today to have a very private sector leaning panel, with the exception of Kofi, who's from government, to talk about this very exciting thing. But before I move to my panel, I just wanted to just reiterate a couple of stats. Does Ghana offer, I guess the compelling question you want the panel to answer today is, does Ghana offer a compelling case for investors for manufacturing? I believe it does. Why? Manufacturing is 10% of GDP, but to put it in context, it's $9 billion. In pound terms is about 7.5 billion. It is actually exporting over 4.5 billion annually for manufactured goods. So the numbers make the numbers for investors here, the case is there. It is doing a lot in terms of across the sectors, pharmaceutical, textiles and garments, beverages, agro-processing and so on. But I just wanted to flag that just last year alone, we had two major investments from Olam on pasta manufacturing, Ghana's first pasta manufacturing plant. And the second investment was also in a first floating glass manufacturing. These were huge major investments that the President of Ghana announced. So the case is there, investors are coming. And so my panel is going to interrogate what the case is, and then we take that from there. So I'm going to start off, first of all, talking to my government colleague, Kofi. And I guess the question I'm going to ask you is a very challenging one. What will it take Ghana to move from, at the moment, 10% of GDP to 15%? There, I challenge you to say 20%, doubling the current rate of manufacturing from 10% to 20% of GDP. What would it take?
Nana, I can answer the question with one phrase. It is doable. It's achievable. Nana, I'm speaking with that conviction from all that His Excellency the President has done over the past 16 months. The Minister of Trade has alluded to it. Look, one of the key things that drive investment is the policy assurance and macroeconomic stability. Once the business environment is transparent and predictable, businesses are able to plan and plan ahead. For the past 16 months, looking at all the economic positive downturn, every businessman in Ghana is beginning to also cash in. Let me give you an example. We visited one of the Ghanaian companies who is being listed on a stock exchange. And the company was bold to tell my minister, for the past almost 10 years, these few months, I'm now posting positive returns, and I'm going to the stock exchange because of the transparency and predictability in the business environment. Look, our city has been strengthening. People are assured of the inflation rate. People are also assured of one thing. One thing that government is doing to drive manufacturing is also to make sure that our companies, which are producing between 20 to 30% of installed capacity, can be able to go up. So you know Atlantic Lifesciences and all the people who are in the value chain. Government wants to use its internal procurement to stimulate market opportunities. So that is what we are doing. In addition, the ECOWAS sub-region is a region that respects Ghanaian products because of our standard and food regulatory bodies. They are recognized everywhere. And this gives us the opportunity to enhance our production. So Nana, coming back, the economy is stable. Only last week, my minister was in a country I don't want to mention.
You cannot mention it.
I cannot mention it.
Thank you.
Almost 5 top manufacturing companies are lined up, coming, in the ceramics, in the cement, in the paper and paper products. And I can tell you that more are lined up. So if you're in UK and you continue to wait, it is going to take you a big surprise when you come to Ghana some few days to come.
So my panelist has challenged me that Ghana can double manufacturing in the next 3 years. I will definitely come to the Ministry of Trade to check those statistics. Now, we're going to test your assumption with blue skies. And I'm going to come back to you, Hugh, to test this assumption. And I guess the question for you here is that the government has thrown out the gambit. It says it can't be done. But you're in the market, one of the largest agro-processing companies in Ghana. I guess my question is, to what extent has the infrastructure in Ghana, from the free zones, GIPC, regulatory and infrastructure, supported your business? And how healthy is this in your, and what is the opportunity here? Using some examples from your own business.
Thanks, Nana. If everyone would just excuse me 30 seconds to introduce the business, just in case you don't know it. But we're Blue Skies. So when you walk into a major European retailer, Carrefour in France, Albert Heijn in Holland, or M&S, Pret-a-Manger, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, many more in the UK. And you pick up those little chunks of fresh cut mango, or melon, or pineapple, or coconut, or papaya. That mango, 24 hours ago, would have been in Ghana being prepared by a team of people. It's quite amazing. And those guys now, we've got 10 factories around the world. And our biggest, our proudest, our flagship, our inaugural factory was in Ghana and is now our most profitable and our highest retail value. But the biggest thing is 5,000 people with the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that they look after in their wider ecosystem. 5,000 employees we have in Ghana out of the 10,000 globally. And that is adding value at source. So how have we got there? We got there because genuinely the government was superbly, we set up in 97, so almost 30 years ago. The government was superb. And it set out a framework really for Free Zone that allowed us, and this is exactly right, Kofi, the freedom to operate, the ability uninterrupted to grow because the business made sense and that people could benefit from it. And I'm pleased to say, certainly, with His Excellency's government now, we are seeing exactly the same sense of ambition here. When you invest with a free zone, you get the first 10 years completely tax-free from profits. And that leg up is superb. And we're a family business, so we don't really take dividends. So all of that profit goes back into growing the infrastructure and the people of Ghana or whichever country we're in.
Thank you. Fantastic. And jobs. You just talked about 5,000 people. Imagine that. So this is a gambit to companies here today to really look at Ghana. And obviously I work at the British High Commission, and we do help companies land as effectively as you can do. And obviously we announced a great partnership with the President yesterday, which is going to provide a better framework for those to unearth some of the challenges that you've had in the market as well. So I'm going to turn around when the issue of jobs come back. I turn back to garments and textiles, because every government in the world thinks about garment. And I really, it's a pity that we don't have the images of blue skies up there. If you ever come to Ghana, it's pretty stunning. Go and see blue skies, and also go and see the Margrace factory in Kofi. So I'm going to turn to you, Margrace, also co-founder of Ethical Apparel. Ghana has an ambitious export-led growth strategy, and obviously we know garments or apparels will be a key part of that. What key developments are you seeing in the garment sector? Which are the brands? Because people don't think that Ghana is going far, but what are the brands that current companies in Ghana are producing? And where do you see the biggest opportunities for both your company in Ghana, as well as for the sector in general?
Thank you very much for your time. So Ethical Apparel Africa runs Margrace Garment Industries, which is a garment factory in Kofi. We have 1,000 employees, and we've also just built a 3,500 square metre expansion that will take us to 2,000 employees. We are now manufacturing for some of the biggest brands in the world, including 25,000 knickers a day for Fruit of the Loom. So if you need any knickers, or panties as they call them. And also for George Clothing in the UK, in terms of looking at the UK base. That has been a growth over the last 7 years or so with that factory. And I think the 4 things that any buyer is looking for particularly is obviously price, quality, lead time, and ethical, sustainable production. And we can get there on price. As Hugh said, it's the most profitable one. But you get there with efficiency. And so you've got to get that efficiency curve up in the first place. We can get there with quality. We make really complex thermal workwear product for the US. And I think that sometimes buyers don't realize how technical we can be in the product that we make. And so that's been a real plus point. It's not just about making a basic T-shirt or a pair of medical scrubs. It's actually about making highly complex product as well for the international market. And we are highly compliant. We have solar-powered factory as well. But lead time is still a challenge because we are in the 6th largest cotton growing region in the world, and yet there's no fabric produced to international standards for the type of product that we are making in Ghana. So that's going to be our biggest challenge going forward to grow again, is to catalyze the vertical supply chain. So from an investment point of view, it's great to invest in garments because you create a huge amount of jobs. And so you're not only going to get your money back financially, you're also going to get impact back. As Hugh said, for every person you employ, you're probably impacting 5 to 10 people in their family as well. So the impact of that and creating sustainable jobs with healthcare and food and transportation and things that are really worthwhile makes Ghana stand out against a lot of garment manufacturing countries around the world. And that's what buyers are looking for. They're looking for the new place that they can trust ethically. And I think that if we can solve the lead time problem with your investment coming in on the fabric mills, then we can be easily better than any other country in the world from a manufacturing perspective.
So Keren is giving you a free consultancy, cotton and fabric manufacturing. So think about that, and they can feed current companies in Ghana. Keren talked about vertical supply chains, and one of our panelists here is all about supply chains. During COVID, one of the things that really struck us, or just struck globally, was how difficult it was to shift medicines. And one of the things that the government at the time talked about was health sovereignty. And this is not just a kind of a nice ambition. It was about how can we secure African supply chains in things like serum manufacturing and vaccine manufacturing for the next pandemic that may most likely will happen at some point, hopefully not in my lifetime. And so to talk about one of the beginning industries in Ghana is the pharmaceutical sector. 34 companies, very strong in the region, level 4, level 3 to 4 certification. That's one of the highest standards in pharmaceutical. So I've got a question for you, David, who runs a very major manufacturing company called Atlantic Lifesciences. And the question for you is this. What are the exciting developments you've seen in the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana? And how do you think that the sector is positioning itself to really respond to the whole issue of health sovereignty? And what are the opportunities for investors here that are looking to come into that sort of health, life sciences space?
Thank you very much, Nana. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Klutse. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Atlantic Lifesciences. We are based in Ningo Pram, just outskirts of Tema. It's the new extension of the Tema industrial area. So Atlantic, as a Pharmanova Group, we employ about 800 people directly on our payroll, and together with their families, probably over 2,000 people that we support on a monthly basis. We are in pharmaceutical, and we are one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. We supply the Ministry of Health probably about 60% of most of the products that they need, and we also go to the neighboring countries to support Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and all the other Francophone countries in the sub-region. The president mentioned about the health sovereignty. Health sovereignty simply means our ability to be able to provide essential medicines for the population of Ghana as and when required. We all do recall what happened during the COVID period. It was very difficult for us to get essential medicines. All sorts of deals had to be done, and Afrexim had to get involved before Africa got its share of, or a share of the global vaccine supply. So government of Ghana since has set up the National Vaccine Institute to help. What will it take to produce vaccines and sera products in Ghana? Our company was one of two companies that stepped up, and we did an investment courtesy of support from Standard Chartered Bank, who I think the MD is in the room here. So thank you very much for coming to our aid in the COVID period to help us raise funds. We set up a factory, a concept plant, where we did to do biological products, sera and vaccines, and I can tell the House that as at a month ago, the Ghana FDA has approved the first locally produced biological product in Ghana. We have listened to the Minister for Trade and Agribusiness talking about agribusiness. But allied to that agribusiness is also the farms, and people and the reptiles are also in these farms. And we do unfortunately, some snake bites to some of the workers. And having produced the snake venom antiserum, that is a very key life saving, because some of these people lose their lives and lose limbs, which means that if the family is dependent on a mother who has lost a limb, that means that the whole family is now pushed into poverty because she cannot feed the family. So it's a very important thing. In addition, Ghana is exiting out of Gavi in the year 2030. So Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, in the year 2030, we are all going to exit from Gavi, which means that we are not going to get co-payment for vaccine supplies. There's a huge opportunity for vaccines to be made locally in Ghana. Our company, Atlantic Lifesciences, have stepped forward. In this month of June, we are partnering with a company called PT Biopharma in Indonesia, which is one of the world's renowned biopharma companies. And they are partnering with us to produce tetanus with diphtheria vaccines in Ghana. We are also partnering with a company called Biological Evans in India to produce anti-tetanus serum in Ghana. These are essential drugs that are extremely important in the delivery of healthcare in Ghana. As we saw, the primary healthcare are doing all it can to make sure that we can take care of people in Ghana. So there is a huge opportunity of investment in the healthcare of Ghana. We need bioequivalent centers so that our medications can be internationally certified, that they meet all standards, right? We need companies to come and set up in the vaccine ecospace, right? We need technology transfer to be transferred into the Ghana with local partners. We need diagnostics. I mean, if we think that we were doing 1% of, Africa produced only 1% of vaccines during the COVID, for diagnostics it was 0, right? Now there's been an awakening that we should not only talk about vaccines, but we should also talk about vaccines and diagnostics. We have been talking about pharma for a while now. So now vaccines and diagnostics have become added into it. So there is a huge investment. How do we check on malaria? That people who've got malaria. How do we quickly do a quick test? TB, HIV. All these things are quick things that we don't have them on the continent. And we need investors to come in and invest so that our healthcare can be affordable. And in times of pandemic disruptions, we are not at the end of the queue. So I think I will stop here for now.
And here you have it, another business idea also for very free, bioequivalent centers, diagnostic tech transfers, a whole range of businesses that are needed in the ecosystem. But I think the point you're making is that there are big giants in the system. He was very modest. You should see his plant. It's absolutely outstanding. And so hopefully next time we will hear you talk about UK, yes. Not Indonesia, just India. Then you talk about AstraZeneca or GSK. But my final question then would be to the British International Investment. I will let him tell you about their market cap, which is very huge globally. So you can't talk about manufacturing without investment. Manufacturing requires very patient capital, unfortunately, globally. It's just what it is. It's not like buy and sell. So I'm going to turn to my last panelist, last but not least, to talk about financing. BII is a UK development financial institution set up in Ghana, and he's going to talk a little bit about how they do financing for manufacturing companies. Over to you, Keegan.
Great, thank you, Nana, and thank you for having me. And I'm impressed with such a full, awake room after lunch. So well done, and thank you for joining us. So as Nana has mentioned, so I represent and work for BII, the UK's development finance institution. We currently have a portfolio of around about $13 billion of assets across Africa and South Asia, and have been investing in Africa for the last nearly 80 years, much of that time in Ghana. So today we are invested in over 30 businesses in Ghana. The portfolio stands at about $220 million, and that portfolio is supporting more than 15,000 direct jobs. So we've been at it for a long time. We continue to do it. We're a big believer in Ghana and the story. And so much so that we actually decided to launch our flagship SME and mid-cap financing platform called Growth Investment Partners in Ghana. So in 2023, we invested $50 million of our own equity capital to set up this platform. And what it is doing is providing long-term, flexible, local currency capital to SME and mid-cap companies in Ghana. We spent many years thinking about the design, deliberating which countries do we start in, and why do we believe in the need for this. And the need is quite clear. I think there's a huge gap for financing SME and mid-cap companies, particularly in manufacturing. So if you're a manufacturing company and you want to expand your production capacity, it is very hard to do that on working capital finance from a bank. You need long-term money, you need flexible money, and ideally, for most, you need it in local currency. And so this was what we set out to solve, and there are many, many lessons one can draw from history around how countries have developed by funding really the middle belt of manufacturing businesses, including here in the UK after the Second World War, where there were specific vehicles that were set up to provide this sort of funding. So we've drawn from many lessons, and we decided to start in Ghana. And there were a few reasons for it. One was the long-term fundamental economic profile. If you look at the overall kind of long-term GDP growth, population dynamics. The second was human capital. So we have a fantastic team in Ghana. They are one of the best, I think, investment teams across the continent that we were fortunate to be able to work with in the design and the setup. The team is 100% Ghanaian. We're very proud of that. We're very proud to have been working with them right from the beginning, and as we've sort of designed and built GIP. And then the third reason is that Ghana also has deep domestic savings pools. So we're here to talk about UK investment into Ghana, but equally we need Ghanaian investment into Ghana.
Absolutely.
And we need pension fund and long-term institutional capital to make its way into the real economy. And so that's what we've done with GIP, is created a vehicle which is designed to deliver commercially attractive returns for domestic institutional investors, for DFIs globally, and for that money to go on to fund, in particular, businesses in the industrial value chain. And there are many that we could mention. Some of my kind of colleagues who are here on stage have been beneficiaries of some of the funding that GIP has put out. But there were other mentions also earlier today when one of the previous speakers was speaking about, for example, the leaf spring industry in Ghana, where we've funded a company called Spring and Bolts, who are now going to triple their manufacturing capacity for leaf springs that will be made, manufactured in Ghana, sold in Ghana, and exported across West Africa. And there are many others, including companies like True Cocoa, who are a soya bean processor and exporter, including to the UK, another business called Fay International, who manufacture women's sanitary pads. So there are many examples of industrial companies who need this long-term patient capital, and we're very proud as BII to be supporting that in Ghana.
Fantastic. So we've created a whole ecosystem of financiers and businesses, and as you say, financing into Margrace as well, which is exporting into Astor George in the UK. So I'm going to be closing the panel shortly, and before I go, I always do this with all my panels when I go into summits, is to ask my panelists to just give me a minute or less of a pitch, and we call it the elevator pitch. We've got the Minister of Trade here who's elegantly walked in, Honourable Elizabeth, protocols observed. And you've got a minister here, one elevator pitch about one thing you'd want Ghana to do so that you can expand your investment, and one more thing you want to tell investors here in the room today. But 1 minute elevator pitch, think of it as a quick one for the President, or in this case, the Honourable Elizabeth. I'll start with you, Margrace.
So for investors across the board, we are raising equity at the moment and continue to raise trade finance too. So if you're interested in the garment industry, please come and see me, because there's an opportunity to invest directly into the company. From a Ghana perspective, the Honourable Minister and I have already spoken earlier on about the vertical supply chain and the opportunity to invest there and create that vertical supply chain, not just in cotton, but in synthetics as well. Ghana's got a growing petroleum industry, and we could be really big in those areas, which a lot of countries are not doing. They're just focusing on the cotton element of things. And then lastly is to speed up the port process. It still takes a long time to get things in and out of the port, and it's very, very costly compared with other countries. So the things that stop me being competitive are lead time, because of bringing raw materials, and lead time through the port.
You just missed your elevator pitch of 1 minute, just after 1 minute. So Hugh, can you do that in 1 minute?
Okay, so to the government first, I think the main message is to strip out every bit of bureaucracy that we can. We've got an infrastructure that works. We don't need necessarily all the addendums that get added to it. Let's drive with freedom. Business thrives with freedom within a frame, of course. To the investors, this is the most wonderful country to invest in, primarily because of the people. My father set the business up. Every time he's grumpy with me, he gets on a plane and he goes to Ghana and he comes back happy.
Can you give a round of applause for that? David, the pitch, 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah. Thank you very much. So the government, pharmaceutical is mainly consumed by government or government agencies on behalf of the people. So we need advanced purchase commitments from government. That is extremely important, because that underpins the investment decisions that we are going to make. There is a huge investment in pharmaceuticals, and I entreat the people in this room. Yesterday, I heard people talking about diaspora bond. I was in this country for 25 years. After a while, I decided I was going to go home. I went home, and today I am doing one of the most incredibly fulfilling jobs as a chief operating officer, trying to create vaccines in this country, in Ghana. And people ask me, do you want to come back? I said, no. I am doing something which is extremely fulfilling for me, because now I have got a snake venom and other things are in the pipeline. So watch this space. Thank you.
1 minute, so Margrace, you have a problem. And Keegan?
I'll be brief. So I think firstly, just to say, there is a tremendous opportunity to keep financing manufacturing-based and industrial companies in Ghana. Us as the UK and BII are committed to continue to support that, but we can't do it alone. We need the support of domestic pension capital to be coming in and supporting the real economy. So my plea would be, please help us to kind of help scale GIP in country. We could double it, we could triple it. The demand is there. It's simply a case of getting the capital in. We will bring the international capital, but we need local capital too.
go and see him after this break for those who are looking for financing for manufacturing. And finally, last but not the least, Kofi.
I'm sure it was strategic because the issues that
I know, I did that on purpose.
the port delays, I can assure you, the port is being expanded and then the berthing areas are being concluded. By the end of June, it will be a thing of the past. The one-stop shop, JIPC, the revised regulation is giving them the power to sort it. And apart from this, my minister has what it calls MC26.
What's that?
I will not give you the details.
Oh.
But it is
Yes, 1 minute.
MC26. If you have any particular issue, you come, she will handhold you to get it done. But let me end with this. The World Bank estimates that between 2035 to 2040, the African region is going to have the highest youth population, exceeding that of China and India. And if you are having a continent with that youth population, one thing is clear: manufacturing, manufacturing, manufacturing. And Ghana is the hub. Thank you.
On that note, Keren, Kofi, Keegan, David, and Hugh, my panel, my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Nana.
Give a photo.
The photo.
Should I put this there?